Hi, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Straight Talking Leadership with me, Chris Pinkowski. My guest today is Dr. Robb Kelly. He is a sought-after recovery expert who believes in treating the causes of addiction and not the symptoms. Dr. Kelly has appeared on such shows as The Doctors, Eye Opener, Good Morning Texas, and Ken's Morning News. He's a frequent contributor to radio and print interviews, including The Jim Bohannon Show, Miracles in Recovery, USA Today, and participated in McLean Hospital's Harvard Medical School study on the stigma associated with mental illness. Dr. Kelly has hosted Sober Celebs show on KLIF Radio in Dallas, and currently hosts the Breaking Through Addiction podcast featuring special guests discussing a variety of mental health issues. Dr. Kelly created Let's Get Back to 98% Recovery, used in prisons and recovery treatment centers throughout the U.S. He's lectured on addiction and trauma at high-profile universities, national conferences, treatment facilities, public schools, churches, business organizations, and hospitals. Dr. Robb is currently the CEO of Robb Kelly Recovery Group, an addiction and mental illness recovery coaching company that he created based on extensive research and behavior studies that he's conducted over the past 20 years. He shares his personal highs and lows as he struggled to overcome crippling alcoholism in the November 2019 release of the book, Daddy, Daddy, Please Stop Drinking. Dr. Robb, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Chris. Hey, guys, great to be here. Sit down. It's going to be a good show.
It's going to be an awesome show. One thing that I like to do before we get into the topic of leadership and everything else we're going to talk about is a warm-up that I call the Mad Minute. The Mad Minute is a couple questions that have nothing to do with leadership. It's all about stimulating that gray matter between our ears to get us ready to go. Are you ready for the Mad Minute, Dr. Robb?
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Let's go. So question number one, you can have anyone in the world, past or present, as a dinner guest. Who would it be?
Mike Tyson.
Mike Tyson.
Mike Tyson, without a doubt. Yes.
Yeah. You know, I'm so disappointed about this cancellation or postponement of this upcoming fight. I hope the champ gets better. I hope that it actually happens, but we will see. Mike Tyson would be so interesting to have dinner with.
Yes.
Second question. You're on a deserted island for 30 days. What are 3 items that you need to have with you?
iPad, guitar, and my dog.
Love it. I love having my dog anywhere I go. So those are some essentials.
The nice thing about running your own business is you can bring the dogs to work.
Say that again?
The nice thing about running your own business is you can bring your dogs to work.
My dogs are here all the time. And sometimes they even sneak into a coaching session now and then with me.
Yes. Yes, definitely.
So we had a really interesting call about a week ago. And one of the things that I want to kick us off with is you and I talked about the power of a smile and just how much that simple gesture of smiling can change someone's entire day. I would love to talk more about how does that just apply to leadership and life in general? What's the science behind just someone smiling and how it changes things?
It comes from the mirroring part of the brain. So it's kind of monkey see, monkey do. If you walk into a room of 10 people with a frown on your face, most people are going to frown back. If you walk in the same people with a smile on your face, 9 out of 10 people are going to smile back. So it changes. Everybody goes through something. There's what a lot of people don't know is if you see the guy next door, he's got everything. Look, everyone's going through something. So a smile can activate all sorts of chemicals. The release of dopamine straight away when somebody smiles or compliments you is really good. It's a free drug. We love great drugs, normal chemical in the brain drugs. So yeah, it can transfer happiness. It can transfer that you're worth it. I've acknowledged you. I can hear you. All the stuff we suffer from childhood traumas we go through that we think nobody knows about. So you can change somebody's life. There's a story that I tell. It's about the guy who went to the Golden Gate Bridge, threw himself off, and committed suicide. When they pulled him out and went back to his apartment because they found identity on him, looking for the next of kin, they found a note on the kitchen table. And it read, I've told this story so many times I can read it verbatim. And that is, I'm going to walk to the Golden Gate Bridge and commit suicide by throwing myself off, unless on the way there somebody smiles, says hi, then I'll stop right there, I'll turn back and I'll try again. So my question to you guys, how many people have you walked by today that's heading to the Golden Gate Bridge? That's how powerful a smile is.
That's a really powerful story. And from a leadership standpoint, one of the things that I talk about is I talk about this framework called high impact leadership, and it has 5 principles. The 4th principle is conviction and caring. The caring side, I think a lot of leaders dismiss, but I think that is one of the most important things that you can do when you know your people. And back in the day when we were in offices, when you would see someone getting coffee in the morning and you could tell that something is just off, and engage that person in conversation, that could be the difference between a Golden Gate Bridge moment for that person or them having an absolutely fantastic day. So it's that human interaction that I think is so valuable and so often overlooked because we're so head down. We're focused on what we've got to do, our shopping list, our to-do list. But the simple gesture of a smile can really impact somebody in a way that you would never know as the person just giving that smile.
Exactly. I mean, if you look at communication as a whole, 90 something percent, 93%, communication is nonverbal.
Yes.
Notice if you ever watch chimpanzees, which I highly suggest you go do if you want to be a leader, you'll see the leadership, the nurturing, but it's not by voice, So you're walking to great leaders lead, others trying to control. That's the bottom line with leadership. So great leaders lead, and you can be taught. You hear this, that leaders are born. I don't believe that. I believe anybody can be taught to become a leader, but it has to come from passion and authenticity. If you're authentic about what you do and you walk on stage, you walk into the boardroom, if you're carrying yourself well with a smile on your face and you're confident, people are ready to listen to you. But caring, the most important people in my company are not the patients. It's my staff. Because if my staff are not 100% happy, we have fun every day, we laugh most of the day, even though we're in a serious business, then they're not going to treat my patients the way I'm going to treat my patients, and the company goes to crap. So if you treat employees and care for employees, there's little things that we do, Chris, like, an assistant might come up and go, well, I'm going on holiday next week for like 4 days. And we go, hey, there's $500. Go and have a meal, you and your husband on me or on the company. And it's the little time we're going to get that meal. Somebody calls, it's my birthday today, Dr. Robb, and we'll have flowers delivered. It's that caring that makes phenomenal leaders.
You're right. And the one thing that you said just a minute ago is that leaders aren't born, they're made. And I was under the impression for so long early in life that you were either born to be a leader or not.
Yes.
And that transformed in me somewhere, I'm going to say in my early 40s, late 30s. And I think that everybody has something inside of them where they have the ability to lead. It's a set of skills. There are people that are extroverts. There are people who, just have a naturally charismatic personality.
Yeah.
And those are great starting points. But I often tell people who say to me, I'm an introvert. I don't like people, so therefore I'm not a leader. No, no, no. That's not the way to think about this. Even introverts, and I know that there are plenty of famous introverts who have become fantastic leaders. So it really is a learned set of skills, and you just have to have the courage to go out there and execute on them.
Exactly. It's all about patterns. If you can teach someone about patterns, patterns and math rule the world. So if you can teach someone about patterns, do A, B, and C will follow. I always used to say, same as you, Chris, that salesmen are born. And as I learned more about the neuroscience and the behavioral science behind what we do today, not just addiction, talking about 5% of that is addiction work here. 95% is non-addiction work. It used to be the other way around. But the more we found out about the way the mind and the brain works and central nervous system and different neural pathways, we found out that you can actually create leaders under the right circumstances and the right environment. Most leaders, we're natural. When I say natural born, we're naturally born to be a leader. All of us have that. But what happens is childhood trauma sets in and all sorts of complications. Babies are born with two fears: fear of falling and the fear of loud noises. The rest are man-made. So we wait till your father gets up. So all these fears we carry through with the childhood trauma that we have and the adult trauma that we have. And if we have a bad experience, like you're a waste of time, you can't do that. Who do you think you are? Look at him getting all big-headed. We step away and step away and step away. And what happens if you don't work on that childhood trauma in the subconscious brain? The conscious brain needs to run the day. Most times it's the subconscious brain. All them thought patterns will come back, and one comment where you're trying to lead, one comment will ruin you completely. But I've probably worked with over 8,300 people over the last 30 years. Every single one's become a leader, because once you can reprogram the brain and redirect the energy in the mind. So mind is energy, you can't see it, as you feel. Matter is the brain. So mind over matter is how we work. So if we can change them both situations, then leaders come out the woodwork, man. They're so surprised at themselves. But everyday people looking up to you. Everyday people, the guy that gets up in the morning, goes to work at 7 o'clock in the morning, comes home at 5, has dinner, watch a bit of TV with his kids. The kids are watching that, man. The kids are watching you with work ethic. My dad worked for the gas company. He used to dig holes in the road to lay big gas pipes down. But you know something? He taught me work ethic. He taught me that, working hard every day. And he always left me with this, Chris, is the day you retire is the day you die. And I truly believe that. That's my mission today. I become a great leader because of him.
Yeah. The impact that fathers have on their children is so significant, and it could lead people down all different roads. My oldest son is 18, and a week from tomorrow is his high school graduation, but he suffered his own childhood trauma. He's a childhood cancer survivor. So when he was 7 years old, he spent an entire year going through treatment. And, now he's 10 years cancer free. But he has said to me, Dad, I've seen you come through hard things. I've seen you just head down, put in the work, and I've seen you come out the other side. And that has given me, inspiration when I'm feeling down, or, I get caught up in the past, like I'm able to push through that. And it was for me setting an example that I didn't know that I was setting.
Yeah.
But work ethic, everything. I have 3 boys and they all are, I think they're awesome. But they've all in one way or another said to me, I see how you are, Dad. And that helps me to be this way, to set goals, to overcome challenges, etc. So having those role models is so important.
It is, especially when it comes to learned behavior from caregivers or parents. if you were born where the father's not there or absent or just never met it, go find a mentor that gives you that, because that will mold your life. And I know kids younger don't really listen to this, the advice that we give them, but it's the best thing you can do. You need someone to nurture, you need someone to look up to, and you need a role model in your life. Now, most role models for people are famous movie stars. If I get to treat them guys, if you only knew half of them, you won't pick them as role models. The role model, like you said, Chris, is the father that gets up every day, the father that sticks by, the father that provides, the father that'll fight for his family. The father that goes out at 6 o'clock in the morning in the snow and can't afford a car, so he walks to it. It's them guys that I love to honor. It's almost on this same way I think about our vets. Our veterans is, what a hero. That's the
Mhm.
bottom line. What a hero, and our kids from enmeshment and learned behavior will pick that up. So if you're a young father and your child was terrible, break that chain, man. Just break the chain. That's all
Yep,
you got to do.
exactly. And it's one of the things for me that I have I have focused on breaking the chain of the way that I was raised versus the way that I raise my kids. Um, I've been lucky enough to be able to think about that and apply it very, very thoughtfully. Um, and you know what? No one's perfect. I know I'm not perfect. I've screwed up as a dad, but it's all about learning and then not doing it again and demonstrating that, letting your kids know that you're not perfect. And guess what? This is what I'm going to do next to change it.
Um,
That's also leadership. Leaders need to be able to acknowledge, you know what? I made a bad decision. I screwed this up. This is what I'm going to do to fix it. And I always say that leadership happens everywhere. It's not a business thing. It's not an organizational thing. It is every part of our life we can apply leadership to.
It is, and it's very important. I have people all the time coming. I've made so many mistakes, and listen, I've got some great news for you guys. Who's messed your life up, and you've gone through so much stuff that you're not proud of. It's a teaching basis. That's all it is. Nothing lasts forever. So think about that. Whatever you're going through now, stop feeling sorry for yourself. Now, I was homeless. I did. I'm just giving you my 30 odd years of being in this industry. But that could be my homelessness, my losing my children, my wife, was like a semester at Harvard University going forward. Because I truly believe that past experience is our greatest asset going forward. You learn by your mistakes, you move on. Don't get miffed by the first turn down you get. Look at the Beatles; they were turned down 15 times. Look at J.K. Rowling; she was turned down so many times. It's about getting up. It's about getting back. It's about looking at your mistakes and go, okay, so what did I learn from that? Not
Mhm.
poor me. Why did I go? Why was I homeless? What did I learn from that? And what benefits can I give to somebody else going forward pertaining to that experience that I had? And once you start doing that, we have a red card deal that we call, how many red cards did you see coming to work? I have no idea. Look for them on the way home. Oh my God, Dr. Rob, I saw 12. These red cards are all around us. The opportunities to do stuff, the opportunities to lead somebody, no matter how small it is. We have an English tea shop next door, which is mine as well. And when I'm not seeing patients on podcasts, I'll go in there and I will walk the old ladies to the door. That's a leadership role. Now they will never forget that. So now you've changed somebody's life.
That's right.
Anybody can become a leader. And if you really step back from your life, mundane life today, you can spot who's looking up to you. You can spot a stupid look. Some guy's coming towards you, built up area of people. It's always the best. Look for sneakers. Somebody walks towards you with great sneakers. Hey man, nice sneakers. Forwards. Hey man, nice sneakers. Okay. He'll go, oh, thank you, man. When he walks away, turn around. He's going to look down his sneakers at least 2 or 3 times. Now, you've just changed the world because you changed one person. But guess what? When he goes home in a great mood, now the wife or girlfriend's in a great mood, then the mother-in-law, and you get the gist. That was you being a leader. That's
Yes.
how we change lives.
You're absolutely right. It's that mindful practice. Um, when I wanted to get better at speaking, public speaking, and talking to strangers, I would purposely go to stores and look for people to have conversations with. And a lot of times it started with the shoes. If I saw
Mm.
someone wearing a funky pair of sneakers, that was the first thing I would say, and it would start a conversation.
You know, that's one of the reasons I dress like I do. I think I'm the only 63-year-old that gets away with pink jeans, a crazy top on with Dr. Dre on it or something, and crazy sneakers because it's always a conversation starter. Oh my God, man, they're awesome. Look at you. I love them colors, them glasses. And where'd you get always? And it always turns around to my brother, my sister has depression, my alcohol, whatever it is, it turned around to a serious conversation where I can aid or give it, advice to them. So yeah, always, man, it makes a huge difference.
Yeah, it's I, I don't have as much flair as you do, but I do like to wear things that people will, if they're feeling brave enough, comment on, and hey, let's have a conversation. Like,
Yeah.
uh, you wear something because you're inviting that conversation, right?
Yes. Yes.
Speaking of mindfulness, and having that kind of, you know, I guess what's the word I'm looking for? Curiosity, but being purposeful about it. How does that contribute to resilience in leaders or in other people for that matter?
The question you have to ask yourself, guys, are you mindful or are you mindful? So if you're mindful and open to opportunities, you'll open all them red cars, all them doors that you want. But if your mind full of all sorts of crazy things going on that you're trying to worry about tomorrow and anxious about the future and regret the past, and you're in this horrible place where you can't be authentic with somebody and you can also can't help anybody. So then you've distanced yourself away because of all this stuff going on. So being mindful is very, very interesting once we start practicing that. And it's real easy to practice. So we look at the mind has so much power. It,
Mhm.
it regulates and programs the brain first thing in the morning, but it's got to have oxygen. So that's why we do our oxygen work. We get up 20 in big, exaggerated breaths, in and out, oxygenates. But when you think about it, this is how powerful the mind is. When the power of your mind connects with another power that's authentic or a higher power, if need be, and you change the way you think and patterns and difference, your DNA changes. That's a fact. Our research is online to go find when your DNA changes, you're not the same person. So now we get two lives in one lifetime. Now we're open to anything in our second lifetime. And I'm like a lot of people. I don't want people to do as good as me. I want people to do better than me. My aim is not to earn hundreds of millions, is to help as many people as I can by being mindful going forward. And because I know I believe in God. Okay. So when I get to heaven and they open them big doors, do you know what God is not going to ask me? How much was that watch you were wearing? How much was that house? How much, what did the car cost you? No, he's going to ask me one question. How many freaking people did you help? That's it. And I'm mindful of that today. And my mind has been cleared. When you wake up in the morning, the subconscious brain wants to run your day. We have to make sure that the conscious brain is in motion and the subconscious is snuffed out for the day. And it's easy to do. Now the mind is clear. And it comes back to everyone thinks 24 hours a day is like an AA saying. It's not. It goes way deeper than that, back into the 1800s when they found out that certain parts of the brain reset every 24 hours. So
Okay.
again, are you mindful or are you mindful?
One of the things that you and I talked about before is the importance of breathing and being, purposeful about that. I'm a big fan of routines, rituals,
Mm.
and my morning routine is I go for a walk every single day, regardless of the weather. Doesn't matter if it's raining, snowing, 100 degrees. Partway through, usually about halfway through, I stop, I do my reflection, and I do some breathing exercises. Ever since I've gotten into that habit, and it's been years now, I notice a level of clarity that I have going into my day. And, can you talk a little more about what those number one, the importance of just breathing, being purposeful about your breathing, because we don't use our full lung capacity just as our brain works. But then what are the benefits of really focusing on that for our brain and for our performance?
So the presence of oxygen equals the lack of disease. Let's talk about that for a second. Every cancers, every growths, every illnesses in the human body grow and start in a hypoxic area of the body. Okay. So we only breathe 45%, Chris, like you said, in a normal day. The only time we feel good when we're at the gym or running is not the weights or the weight, it's this in between sets. So when we flood our oxygen and brain flood with the oxygen in the central nervous system, we're at our heightened. We now have every tool of awakening, of alertness in first thing in the morning. And this is really interesting. So we've been studying this for the last 6 years. The subconscious brain and the conscious brain, okay? Bad stuff in the 24 hours, bad stuff 24 hours, okay? When we wake up in the morning, and the reason why nobody's woke up laughing in the morning is lack of oxygen, okay? So when we wake up, this guy, the bad guy here, wants to run the show. Okay. Oh my God, I got this today. Oh, I've got to go into work today. I don't know. You get to do that stuff, by the way, guys. But this guy wants to run the show.
Mhm.
When we get up in the morning and we do our 20 exaggerated breaths in, it kills the subconscious brain because the conscious brain has been lit up and ready to go. This guy here is going to conquer the world. This guy here is going to be a fantastic leader. So we go out the day that we've got teeth work, mirror work, breath work. Get that breath work in. You'll live a lot longer when the body is oxygenated on a daily basis. But, and here's the but, guys, tomorrow this guy's going to wake me up. So unless I do this every day on a daily basis, because 3 parts of the brain, restart every 24 hours, the oxygens will save your life. It will add years onto your life. It'll stop any of them illnesses and growth and everything because there's no hypoxic areas anymore, guys. Do this 3 times a day and it will absolutely explode the brain neural pathways, receptors, mind, everything will be empowered like it's on steroids, ready to go for the day. But you will feel dizzy, so hold on or sit down. I'm going to warn you that now because the body and the brain, especially, is not used to this much oxygen all at once. This is what I carry every single day with me.
Oh,
Oxygen from that. I just sitting, do that every single morning and afternoon, and you'll be at your best.
now you just mentioned three things. Breath work was, I think, the third. What were the first two?
So get up in the morning, do our breath work straight away. Don't know the restroom, no coffee, straight away. So after that normal circadian rhythm pattern between 2 and 5 is when the body is at its lowest. It's also when most people die of natural causes. So our oxygen is real low. So get the oxygen. Walk into the bathroom. If you brush your teeth with the right hand, let's start changing some patterns and neural pathways in the brain. Do a week on your left, week on the right, week on the left, week on the right. Now we're changing neural pathways straight after we've oxygenated the whole brain. Okay, so now we're in a different pattern. We're in a different time pattern completely. Then stand in front of the mirror and stand 6 feet away from the mirror. Let's store the subconscious brain. I love you. I love you. Eye to eye. It's really difficult, but 6 feet away. The way the eyes work is when you get close to the mirror, shaving or women put the makeup on, we can see all our blemishes. What happens with the mind is that it takes you out so people can see all your blemishes. If you stand 6 foot away from the mirror, your blemishes go. Because listen, guys, when's the last time you went in work and going, "Hey, Johnny, great to see you"? Doesn't
Right.
happen. So do the 6 foot away, the blemishes will disappear. I love you, eye to eye in the mirror 10 times every single day. You will have a fantastic day. Compliment 3 people every day, get some dopamine going, and you'll have a great day. If you don't, do it again tomorrow because you haven't done it right. It's impossible once the brain is filled with oxygen to have a bad day, and stick in the day. Don't worry about depression comes from the past, anxiety comes from the future. When's the last time you got anxious and worried about something that actually came true? Never. And the past, there's nothing you can do about the past, guy. I was a terrible father. Fix it.
Right.
Fix it. How did I fix it? Now you have the power to fix it. Don't look, whatever happened in the past, it probably wasn't your fault. You had an illness, you were in a different frame of mind. It's not you. The past doesn't define you. The past becomes our greatest asset.
Yes.
That's what it does. What do you know, Chris? You've never checked. You've never been checked. And you get all these boxes checked because you think you're having a rough time, by the way. And why is God putting me through this? And my life's nothing. And check, check, check. I get it all the time, guy. What do you know, Dr. Robb? I've seen your big house and your 50 grand watch, and you've never been homeless. Sit down. You never lost your kids. You sit down. You've never been stabbed almost to death and your teeth kicked out because you wasn't strong enough to defend yourself. Let me sit down. Check. Because that becomes it. Now, when people can relate with that, now you become a powerful leader. Now you're training how to become a powerful leader without hardly ever talking.
Yeah. So I want to recap that for 1 second. So first thing in the morning, as soon as you wake up, you're going to flood your body with oxygen. You're going to do your breath work. Then you're going to get into the bathroom and you're going to change your neural pathways by just alternating the hand that you use to brush your teeth. And then you're going to do some positive self-talk 6 feet away from the mirror because you're not focused on your blemishes. You're focused on yourself looking eye to eye, and you're setting yourself up for success going into the day.
Will change your life. Will change. And if it doesn't, guys, I get people all the time. Oh, well, it didn't work for me. No, you didn't do it properly. It's scientifically impossible for you not to feel different. It's science, unless you're breathing every day, 24 hours, it's scientifically, it just doesn't happen. You have to change.
I want to stick on this subject of like the neural pathways of the brain, and how does that neurological process influence our decision making, especially as leaders?
On a normal person, 60% neural pathways and neurobillions in the head are negative, and 40%. If you suffer from alcoholism and addiction, it's 90% self-sabotage, 10% good. So it's about rewiring.
Mm-hmm.
So what I tell people is what we do on a daily basis builds neural pathways. So don't hold me to this number, around 300 neural pathways die every day. What are you replacing them with? Because if you're 90 positive, 10 negative, and we keep doing the change every day and helping people and being a leader every day, then 300 are being restored by positive. So what happens over a period of time, especially after doing the trauma work, is it's 100% positive. We don't surround ourselves with negative people. And there's always somebody around you guys that wants you to fail, by the way. Look at your family and circle of friends, one person, but when you fail, not being nasty, he's not being hurtful, but he doesn't like where you're going because he wants to still hold you back in the cesspit that they're happy with. So it's really, really important that you follow these instructions and understand how it can absolutely change your day, therefore your week, your month, your year. So new neural pathways change new beliefs, change new behavior, change new moving forward into action. All from here. Listen, if you're watching a movie or something every single night that's killing people and living in the projects, then that's the way you're going to think. Unfortunately, as children, what we see is how we feel. Watch a sad movie, mom's depressed, we feel sad. Okay. It's the same thing. What we hear, we believe to be the truth. So when mom as a toddler, you go, don't put your hand on that stove, it'll burn you. And we do it. Ow. So what people tell us, we believe to be the truth. Like everybody anywhere that tells us, we believe that's the truth. And as we go through life, we understand that it's not. And people are not always truthful. It's the same thing with the people around you now. 99 people, before you walk on stage in front of 20,000 people, one person can walk up and go, you're not as good as you think you are. That one person will ruin you as you walk on that stage. So what do? People will say, well, I'll just pick up, whatever you say doesn't bother me. That's not true. That is not true. To be honest with yourself, guys, That is not true. Sticks
Yeah.
and stones will break my bones, but words will never hurt me is the biggest nursery lie ever to come into this country, because it does. So the easiest way to not surround yourself by them is distance yourself. Get away from them. I never read any review online. I never watch podcast. I never read my book. I don't want to do it, because I'm in this place. I don't care what you say right now because I don't listen to you. But if I start listening to you, looking at the reviews and all that stuff, or negative, with some kid that sat in his mom's bedroom at the age of 30, never done anything with his life, becomes a keyboard warrior and says one thing and it upsets my day. So I have to place ourselves in that neutral place of don't involve yourself, man, with them guys. If you want to earn 100 grand a year and you're earning 50 grand a year, hang around with the guys that earn 100 grand a year.
Mm-hmm.
Show me your friends, I'll show you your future. Starting today, guys, when you hear this, well, I only work at a factory. I don't give a crap where you work. You're still a leader. You can still double the income if money is your goal. You can still become the best dad in the world if that's your goal. You can become anything once you follow these procedures, and you can start to have a better life. Because if you think money makes you happy, let me tell you categorically that it doesn't. Okay. I came from the projects and then home. I thought when I had my first million that everything would be good. It doesn't. So surely 2 million and then 10 million. It doesn't. It's an inside job.
Yes. Now, from a leadership standpoint, how does a leader combat that with a team, right? If you've got a team of 10 people and there's that one naysayer, can you turn that person around? I mean, we as leaders want to listen to our people, right? Because we want them to have buy-in, we want accountability and things like that. But when you've got that one person, that one negative person can have a ripple effect on everyone else in the team and their psychology and how they're performing. But how do we as leaders turn that person around or help others to distance themselves, even though they may not be able to? Like, they're still working together. How does that work?
So the naysayer in the tent, he's got his own trauma, he's going through his own stuff. We have to understand that he's not being negative just to be a pain in the ass. He's not doing the couple of things I always do. When you walk in a room as a leader, you need to be adamant, you need to be direct, you need to have fun, but you need to include the 9. And then what we do is we involve that 10th person. We involve him. We ask him questions. Can you tell us, Johnny, that? And all of a sudden, before he knows what day it is, he's one of the boys. He's getting excited because the loner will always look at life of being lonely. He's always the odd one out, the black sheep, the most childhood trauma. He doesn't think he's in this situation that he doesn't think he's going to succeed like the 9 other salesmen. So what he does, he stays in this safe comfort zone that he's in. And because of his feedback is negative, because of family trauma, he thinks that negativity is helping the group. Like if somebody walks into my office and they're not smiling when they walk staff-wise, if they walk in, they're not smiling, I turn them back home, they go back home, they get no pay that day, sit in great gratitude all day and coming tomorrow. You see, you find out, negative person, it's not about you. This is never about us. So for once in your life, we're inviting you to join this team, this family, where we can have success and build each other up. When we do that, when we're teaching sales teams, every single one of them to lead and depend on each other, just like a special forces team, then the naysayer will jump in, because at the end of the day, that's all he ever wanted, is to belong. But the childhood trauma has hurt him so badly, he's not going to get involved, because if he does get involved and you do turn your back, it's devastating. So I involved them. Come on, Johnny, what have you got? Well, I don't know. Well, come on, Johnny, what's the solution, man? Come on, Dave, Johnny. And what I think the solution is, oh, wow. Everyone starts clapping. Now he's in. He's in 100%. And it's not his fault. But when he's in, just saved a life and the team is running at 100%.
That is great advice. And, it's something that, very similar that I've tried to employ too, is when you've got that one person who just wants to nitpick everything. That's when you give that person ownership of a project. You say, hey, you know what? I've got this going on, and You're the person, Rob, you're the man who I believe can get this done. I need you to give it some thought and come back to me with a plan. Right away, they're bought in.
I think that's more powerful than what I've just said. What a great tactic. Yeah, you give him the ownership of this particular task. He goes away, he thinks about it, and because you give it to him, he starts to believe a little piece of mind start, well, maybe I could do this, or maybe I could do this. And like I said, he comes back to you, gives you a positive, yeah, I think I can do this, boss. And halfway he's on board. So
Yep.
brilliant. I love that, Chris.
Um, are there certain, we're talking about positivity and negativity, but are there certain foundations of people from maybe a psychological standpoint, or even the way their brain is wired, that predisposes them to certain leadership styles, right? You've got certain leaders are just very authoritarian, my way or the highway, which I don't think is a very effective way to lead. Other people are very much, hey, I want to rule by consensus or lead by consensus. But is there something in our brains that makes that happen? Or is it a reflection of our past, things that we've gone through in childhood, adolescence, that shape the way that we lead people?
So every confident, aggressive, the guys, the Tony Robbins of this world, they've all got childhood problems they're going through, and if they've worked on it, they've come out the other end, and they're grateful and they're positive. But you have to what we call read the room. So my style is a little aggressive, direct in your face when we're talking about addiction. I don't take any prisoners. Now we have a bunch of people that come here that can't work with me because they're too sensitive. So then we change styles and make sure we talk to them in the way that they want us to be inspired and talked to. So the more aggressive, the harder the background. I believe that's what our research is told. Learned behavior and measurement. They broke the chain. They've done their own work, and they're moving forward. But that's very effective to group A over here. So if you put this guy over, it's not going to work. You go in a room with full of guys that have got high energy and they're all alpha males, walking intimidating. Go, okay, guys, you got to walk in with it, and you got to punch him in the face verbally when you walk in. Now you got another group who might be the IT guys. They were not used to that. They've been brought up in science and stuff. Now you have a different approach with those. Now you lose the attitude, and the mirroring part of the brain will connect with different groups. If you're smart and clever and can read the room, you can talk to all of those guys on a different platform. I think that is when, and there are guys that probably will just won't. And we have guys here. I'm not working with Dr. Rob. He's too aggressive. Well, I'm not really Dr. Rob. And some are intimidated by me, and that's fine. I've been intimidated by people all my life. So yeah, I think it's there's niche. Find your niche, guys. Find that niche that you can walk into and make a difference. I think that's the key to life. Is everybody's put on this earth to find their niche. Unfortunately, 60% ish, and I'm just pulling a number out the air, guys. 60% don't. They don't find. They turn up every day for work. They go home. They retire, or they work themselves almost to death. And the only people that appreciate them working or realize that working for someone else was bad was your kids. The boss, when you die or go out the next day, he's going to say, Johnny, who? Oh yeah, oh yeah. Where's Bill? Not going to worry about you.
Right.
So find your niche, do it well. And I'm going to give you something now. So don't have a plan B. You go, oh, no. You have to have a plan D, doctor. So I'm sat in a room, and it doesn't make the difference how we got there. I'm looking after this bodybuilder guy in the late 70s. His name was Arnold Schwarzenegger. People couldn't even pronounce his name. And we pick him up at the airport, and he's doing some seminars, and we get to sit in his room with him. And I said to him, I said, hey, listen, you got a plan B, right? After, the bodybuilding stops. I mean, I know you're great, but what are you going to do after that? What's your plan B? And he said, I don't have a plan B. I just have a plan A. Well, this is your plan A. No, I have plan A next. What's the plan A? I'm dying to hear this, Number one, I'm going to become the highest paid movie star in the world. Well, I nearly fell off the chair because this guy couldn't even speak English back in the 70s, late 70s. Check. What's the next thing you're going to do, Arnold? I'm going to become a governor of the United States, preferably in California. I love California. Well, really? I don't think you can be a governor if you come from, Graz, just outside Germany. I check. The third one, he said he's going to marry into the Kennedy family. Check. So if you're adamant and find your niche, plan Bs don't matter. Because if you do have a plan B, forget about plan A.
I love that.
Every single neural pathway in the head has neural pathways leading to success, to health, to wealth. Every single neural pathway is already there. So the trick is how do we connect them? See, in the past, this is the neural pathway, let's say, to health or being a great father. And we come in here trying to connect that and we shoot off down here, or because of childhood trauma or fear. The idea is to connect that. So it then automatically goes on to find your niche. That will happen. And the 8,500 people that have come here, the first day, bullshit. That's never going to, I don't believe you. And every single one of them have walked out that same day going, oh my goodness. Because it's there, guys. And everybody, unless you've got severe brain damage, if you're handicapped, if you're in a wheelchair, if you've got one arm, if you come from the project, it doesn't make any difference. What you went through, unfortunately, was a schooling, because you're gonna lead and inspire people who's had one arm chopped off or something. There's always a niche. Find your niche, become happy.
So I've lived that kind of burn the boats at the beach kind of mindset, right? There's no plan B. This is the goal. And you've got to make that happen, right? It's not easy.
No.
You've got to be focused. I'm very open about the fact that growing up, I come from a family that was spending the construction trades for generations. And I was always told growing up, you need to learn a trade, you need to get into a union, you'll be secure for the rest of your life. And that's what I believed. Until I was in my early 20s and I had already demonstrated that I've got this knack for leadership. I've got this entrepreneurial spirit inside of me. I've been working in business. I need to go learn about business. I need to go to college. College was never talked about in my family, with the exception of that's for rich people.
Yeah.
We grew up, by today's standards, working poor.
Yeah.
So when I decided in my early 20s, I need to go to college, my universe was small. I grew up in Philadelphia and I went to the library, right? I'm 50. So, back then I was still going and doing paper research and looking at schools. Okay, these schools have business programs. And my dad actually said, there's this school in West Philadelphia, and I think they teach business. It's called Wharton. You should check that out. So go back to the library, and I find the Wharton School at the University of Pennsylvania, #1 business school in the entire world.
Wow.
And I said, you know what? That's where I'm going. Fuck all of these other schools.
Yes.
That's where I'm going. And at the age of 26, I was a freshman at the Wharton School because I had that mindset of there's no plan B. That's where I'm destined to be, and that's where I'm going to go. I graduated with my degree 3 weeks after my 30th birthday. And I've had that mindset ever since. Like, all right, that's the plan, and that's where we're going. But it wasn't purposeful that I created this niche for myself. How do people create that? Like, to me, it was almost second nature. And I think to people like Arnold, it's probably maybe second nature as well. But if you're talking to an up and coming leader, what would you say to them to help get that in their head to create a niche?
The first part is easy. If you think you're going to be successful, you will. If you don't think you're going to be successful, you will. It's kind of the way you think about things and value your time and yourself, and realizing that people around you really need you to step up. The second one is routines and patterns, man. I can't stress this enough. I tell my guys to write 5 things down every day that you're going to complete that day. I don't care if it's breakfast, lunch, I don't care. 5 things, write down, never type pen to paper on the brain. That's a whole different show. Write it down what you're going to do. Now, you might do 100 things that day. But as long as the 5 things are done, like wash my dishes, make them, the brain starts going win, 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 win. So what happens is the basal ganglia picks that up. The basal ganglia is the part of the brain that's a repetition, strength, and confirms. Driving a car, for instance. So when you first start driving a car, there's no neural pathways of nothing because you've never done it before. So you start creating neural pathways and the basal ganglia picks it up. When you start driving, you might be driving a Mini, but it feels like a tank. And you're all nervous and you've got to concentrate on everything. But after a few weeks and months, you pass your test. Now you're reversing down the driveway, you're waving to your parents, you're on the phone to the girlfriend, you're listening to music, and you're whistling all at the same time. It's the same thing with everything else in life. The more hours you're getting, the more tightly controlled your mind is. The repetition of certain things will start the mind producing that winner attitude, will transfer to the brain of winner attitude all the time. You just have to internally believe that you can do anything that you want to in life. And let me express that. So people used to always say to me years ago, well, I can't be president of the United States. You said I can be anybody, but I could never. Forget your political views for a second, guys. We had a freaking business and run the country for 4 years with no political experience whatsoever. How dare you tell me that you fucking can't achieve your dreams? It's just not true. But nobody's going to come knocking at the door. Hey, Jimmy, you want to get this one? Look at this one. I've got nobody. Make your own circumstances. Have a spiritual fit side of life. Eat pride. So there's 4 chemicals in the brain that have to happen every day, to be that person that you want to be. Dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, and endorphins. They're all capable of doing stuff, exercise, sunlight. The only problem is dopamine and serotonin are only 2 chemicals that's created in the gut. So if you're not happy every single day, you've got to look at what you're eating. And again, going into processed foods and what pharmaceutical companies and the food industry get us sick and then depend on pills for the rest of our lives. If you step away from that and start eating cleaner, 1 day a week eating cleaner, that will really, really help them chemicals. And the mind will be off to a great start first thing in the morning. And then the more you practice this, with belief in yourself becomes belief in others. So if you're mentoring something, you have to believe, first of all, that you're on this platform higher than where you were. And what you are is valuable, and your time is valuable, and that you have been chosen somewhere along the line to do what you're doing today, period. That transfers over. Just the energy will transfer over to the person or group or people that you're mentoring. And it's amazing how that stuff works. All the energies in that room will connect. That's what the mind is for. Mind over matter. The mind is the deal. So again, when energy connects with outside energy and you change your routines starting in the morning, your DNA changes, which means that you're not the same person as yesterday as you can be today. If you hear this and start today, it will all change for you because you literally can do anything you want, and you can literally be a leader of 1 person or 2 million people. One question that I nearly answered, but I didn't think it was appropriate because many people don't have an understanding is, who would you like to sit down for dinner with? Hitler. I'd like to sit down with Hitler for one reason. All the crap things he's done, horrible, deserved everything he got. He's a waste of time. He's a piece of shit. We know that. But how did he get a country to follow him? He was a soldier. How did he get so many millions of people to follow him? That's what I'd be intrigued about.
Yeah. That's, I don't know what it is that he was able to do that, but yeah, it's
that's a leader.
Yeah.
Now, for the bad, for the worse, yeah, but that right there is these guys around us, forget political views, Trump's a leader, Bush is a leader, these corporations. One of the reasons why Apple had the guy talking, I forget what his name is, who knew nothing about how to do nothing in the iPhones or anything, was that he was a natural born marketer and leader. And he took that company sky high, even though he couldn't do anything in the back end. All he could do was be that leader on stage that took them from a $100,000 company to a $100 billion company. Because if they wouldn't have had him, I don't think he would have gone anywhere.
That's right. So Dr. Robb, you just validated something that I tell people all the time. But so I have this book right here. And in this book, every day I write down what I call my winning list. The cover of the book is Blackbeard's flag, and it's surrender or die. But the reason I call it my winning list is because it's the 5 most important things I need to get done every single day. If I get all 5 of those done, I have won the day. I am someone who does not like to lose. So that drives me from a psychological standpoint of this is my winning list and I need to win the day. I don't win every single day. And I learn from the times that I don't win. But I just say that because it's nice to hear someone who's a professional to kind of validate that I've been doing this for years and it's pen and paper. I don't write this down on a screen. It's tactile. And that helps me to make that mind connection with what I need to do.
So when you look at the mind itself, how powerful is the mind? Listen to this, guys. Okay. Let's think you're on a basketball court. Visualize a basketball court and then visualize 10 players on that court. But the 10 players are all you. So different positions are you, right? For just visualize that. Stay with me, guys. This is quantum physics we're talking about, proved science. So I've never played basketball, guys, but I know I'm not stupid. I'll be over near the net, and when I get the ball, I'll slam it in the goal and become the hero of the game. Okay, that's where I'm going to be. So visualize yourself there doing that for a couple of seconds. Now the next question is how do I get there? This is the easiest thing I'm going to tell you guys. You walk over and you take that position. You don't beg, you don't crawl, you visualize, you walk over and you take that position because that's your position. The other 9 places is de minimis. You might have had to live in them 9 places on that court at certain times in your life, but your end result was always to be the hero of your own game. Walk over and take that position. And when you do that, you'll realize that you never have bad days. You just have better days than others. You know, in my job, how can I complain when I wake up in the morning in this house that I can't believe I live in with my wife and my English bulldogs? And how can I have a bad day, guys? And then separate business to private life. Separate them. That's the biggest relief I got, Chris, in being a leader every day. Is that's work. This is home. So when I leave the office at 5 o'clock, it's cut off. You know, if someone says something to me, you know, I think it's personal, it's business. It was about the business, about what nothing to do with me. You separate yourself away from that because your only job right now is to inspire others and build a team up around you and go out and work with as many people as you can, inspire as many people as you can. Okay, as much as you can every time when you walk out of that, you know, sales group who's learning from you, you will feel so empowered. And again, basal ganglia, the more we do that, like the 10,000 hours in the air for a pilot, the more you do it, the easier it becomes. Now you start to believe that this is your niche and you believe that the time is right for you now.
I love it. You got to make it happen. You got to get the reps in and you've got to believe that this is what you're supposed to be doing.
100%. You have to. On the back of my business card, it says the best addictionologist in the world. Now, that's a bit ballsy, isn't it? Prove me wrong.
Right.
Can't do it. I'm the best mechanic. I'm going to go out and build an empire. Don't be a builder. Guys, please don't go out with the attitude of building a business. Website, credit, business card, you got a business. Big deal. Create empires. Create and believe that you were born to create empires. All of the businesses you hear now in the top 20 start in a garage or a bedroom. Build empires and go forward and kill it.
Oh, Dr. Robb, this has been a fantastic episode. I know that we're getting to the end. I've got one last question before we wrap it up. What is your leadership philosophy?
Caring for others. Okay, that's it. You know, and the other thing as well, you have to remember. So Gary Brecker was known for this. So you get 10 people in a room. Okay, this is what we did. Get 10 people in a room, and you wire them up, the heartbeat and everything, and certain waves, certain brain waves that we can track, portable monitors on the back. So here's what happened. 10 people come around, will pay you $100, have some coffee, speak to people, go home. That's it, $100. Boom, gone. Oh, yeah, we'll do that. What they didn't know is we had 2 doctors, 2 mechanics, 2 nurses, and 2 teachers. So we wanted to see how, when a teacher met a teacher, this is what we found. When a teacher met a doctor, the spike on the machine was like 10%. That's all. Now, when a doctor met a doctor, it spiked to about 40%. So the brain waves are now going, the mirroring part of the brain. I know I was speaking the same language. But, and here's the but, guys. When a mechanic met the doctor and they were both being authentic with each other, we couldn't even measure the spike. So authenticity is the most powerful thing that we can own. And when you meet somebody else who is authentic as you, miraculous things start to happen.
That's fantastic. And authenticity is so important. I can't stress enough to people to be who you are and to embrace who you are authentically. Don't try to pretend.
No,
because what you pretend today to make the connection with somebody or attract that mate or leave an impression on somebody, that is not you, and that is going to be fleeting. So being authentic is 100% the way to go.
I believe that, it's like the fake it till you make it. I don't like that saying so much, because why are you faking it? You've already made it.
Right.
You've already made it. You want to come and CEO that company that you're sweeping floors in? Get that mentality.
Yes.
Make steps towards it. You've already made it. You don't have to fake nothing. Just be authentic with yourself. Give yourself goals. Get yourself in a pattern of 5 things every day. Compliment people. Get into that morning routine. Write down at nighttime if you've got any resentments or anything. Put them down on paper. That'll go away. All these things. But here's the key, guys. If I was going to give any information to other people trying to do what we do, Chris, is this: start acting as if you're already doing it. Start walk like it, talk like it, drive like it, dress like it. Makes no difference. Start doing that. Basal ganglia will pick that up, and you will end up in that. But you will, if you follow all the instructions we give you. It's humanly impossible not to do. When you find the power, the actual power of the mind, and now that create opportunities for you. Look for the red cars.
I love it. Look for the red cars. Dr. Robb, I really appreciate you being on the show. I know that the people watching and listening are going to get something out of it. Any parting words before we wrap up for today?
Guys, if you're in a bad place right now, and you don't think you're worthy, and you don't think you could be a leader or anything, I want to apologize to you first of all, because somebody's put that there. Babies are born with 2 fears. They're of falling and the fear of loud noises. The rest are man-made. You're going through this situation to become somebody. You're going through this situation right now that's temporary. Everything is temporary. Learn to love yourself. Be that leader we spoke about. Believe in yourself, and take care of others, man. Whether it's hello, a smile, or here's $10. Like people, love people, believe people until they give you a reason not to. And that would be my secret to success would be them. And don't suffer fools, by the way. And don't devalue yourself. Oh, Jimmy's my mate. Yeah, he charges $100, but hey, Jimmy, can you do me for like $20? Stop that shit. Because if you enter their work and that's them, if they're working a bike shop, can I have this bike for $20? And say, no, I mean, stop that shit. Stop undervaluing yourself. You are precious. Your time is precious. Never forget that. Time, man. Guys, listening, how many times does usually the wife, well, 1 minute I'm waving him off to kindergarten and the next minute I'm waving him off to college? We don't have time. Everyone thinks we have time. So here's another bit of advice. Do it now. Date that girl, buy that house, start that empire now. We have a 7.3 golden rule in this company. If I'm sat on the sofa tonight, Chris, I've got a big bag of chips and a big Coke, and I'm sat there with my wife, and I say to her, I'm going to the gym tomorrow. I ain't going to the gym tomorrow. I know it. She knows it. The dogs know it. Okay. But within the 7.3 seconds-ish of me saying that, if I get up, walk towards it, go to my bedroom, get my kit in my bag, put my bag near the door, there's a 90% chance of going it. Do it now.
I love it. Do it now. That is a perfect note for us to end on. So, Dr. Robb Kelly, thank you so much for being on the show. I know that people are going to get something out of this. And for those of you watching, for those of you listening, please like the channel, subscribe, share this episode with other people that you know will benefit from it. And from me, until the next time, what I always say is lead on.